Hello everybody, my name is Pravus, and welcome back to more Hearts of Iron 4. Kaiserreich, playing as currently the Russian Republic, though that's going to be changing pretty soon. At the end of the last video, we were able to achieve political stabilization. We could keep Dmitry Romanov and go down a new Tsardom route with him, involving the Imperial Glory, which will lead to the Voice of the Tsar for extra attack, as well as Neo-Slavism, so we can start going for some pretty hardcore aggression if we want to. Well, actually, wait, this also leads to industrial concern cost, tank concern costs. Concern cost? What is that defined by? I don't know. Or we could start going down a constitutional monarchy system, which is going to follow the authoritarian Democrats, which allows for a lot more stability and political power generation, which can be good. Can be good. I also like the research speed. I don't really care about the surrender limit, though, because I'm kind of hoping never to have to worry about that. So I think we may stick around with Dmitry for fun and see what happens. Though I actually think the authoritarian Democrats might be the more powerful choice in terms of just overall economic stability and power. I think that, and there is the civil war with there. But I do think that possibly going down the paternal autocrats is going to lead to a more warlike playthrough, which is kind of what I like to do. So the Second American Civil War has begun. The American Union state led by Huey Long is making their push. We should be seeing the syndicate states popping up pretty soon. Looks like the Indo-Chinese Union died. Oh, okay. So the radical socialists down here actually got crushed. Good for the Germans, I suppose. Good for me. I don't like seeing syndicalism get too strong, okay? If I'm not playing as a syndicalist, I always want to keep the syndicalists weak. They're the ones who end up becoming the dangerous powerhouse if you can't keep them under control. So I'm glad to see that they're not getting a lot of extra control down in Southeast Asia. The Indo-Chinese Revolution has been defeated by the might of the Empire. Okay, and there also finishes off a couple more people down over here. Yeah, China is just an absolute hotbed of nonsense right now. Feel real bad for them. Alright, almost done with that Spearhead Doctrine. Almost done. I'm looking forward to that. Actually, it'll let me start getting ahead of time on things like medium tanks a little bit sooner, which could be really good if I can just get the industrial base to support it. Alright, we have successfully infiltrated the civilian administration. So no problem down there. We have infiltrated them. Now, if we can get a bit more of our network strength, we can try to steal some industrial blueprints from the Germans. Let's go ahead and start working on getting some of that spy network in a few key areas like this. Start building that up. We no longer have to worry about the expanded workers' rights, finally. So that gets back some of my much-needed civilian factories. Okay. We're starting to put some stuff together here. We really are. If I could just get a little bit more war support, man, I could go for the early mobilization, and that would make a big deal. Oh, also, Serbia has a new king? Really? Oh, that's interesting. King Alexander II. Unexpected, but okay. I gotta say, it's kind of interesting how there are several different major overhaul mods that focus on a world that's, how do I describe this? Ideologically driven. The real world after World War II and the Cold War and so on has obviously gone down a very democratic route, right? So a lot of the world in the new current world order is very much propping up liberty and democracy ideals. Whether they follow them perfectly is another question, but that's where you go, right? And within democracy, there are several different substrates, such as market liberals, social democracy in the third way, libertarianism, etc. Then you get Kaiserreich, which is all about monarchism, right, and authoritarianism. And that could be in the form of authoritarian democrats or autocrats or whatever it's going to be, or sometimes more constitutionally minded autocrats that have social conservative values and so on. And it's the conflict between that and syndicalism. Then you get something like Red World, which is the world where communism is the one that won, and all forms of the substrains of communism are the dominance, and everything else has to rise up against that. Or a mod I recently tried out, which I actually was going to do this week, but I ended up scrapping it because there were some parts of it I just couldn't quite get over. The New Order, which is a world where the fascists take over. There's a lot of substrains of fascism, and everything else has to rise up against that. It's just interesting, right? IRL, right, HoI4, where the democracy eventually wins, Kaiserreich for non-aligned, Red World for communism, and the New Order for fascism. It's just kind of interesting that there's several different overhaul mods that kind of take that over. Oh, we finished with the thing down here, and I forgot to move on to the next one. We haven't lost any progress. Let's go for the restoration of the monarchy. It's only going to take 7 days, which is actually 1 day because we stacked up 6 days, and boom! We are now, once again, the Russian Empire. Perfect. Okay. So do we go down the Imperial Glory route? Yeah, I think we're going to do this. We're going to crown Dmitri. Though, I really think the constitutional monarchy route would be better in a lot of ways. So we're going to try it. Honestly, I mean, the other main reason to do it is because authoritarian Dems already have the highest levels of support. I mean, the more party popularity you have, the better. But alright, let's try for it. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so with all that done, hey, more civilian factories freeing up. Thank you, workers' strike being over. So what do we want to do next? Well, probably some more civilian factories. It's going to be a few years before I have to go to war. The highest levels of infrastructure I can see are over here, so we'll do this. And that's going to have to be good enough. The question then becomes, do I go for some more infrastructure? The fun thing is, if I build infrastructure here, it's not showing that I would actually get any more resources, which is one of the main reasons that I would like to build infrastructure. So that's a little bit weird. Lots of resources is one of the advantages of playing as Russia, because if we go down free trade, we can export a lot and get tons and tons and tons of money. I'll worry about medium tanks later. For now, this is all done and taken care of. Let's go ahead and research what? Well, we probably should just go ahead and finish out the production side, but we're about to finish interwar artillery over here. Just for a little extra soft attack value. Could get an upgrade here in a couple years. Not going to worry about it right now. We've already got everything I want over here. We can finally go down doctrines, and I guess we should. Let's go for the mobile warfare. And we are going to try to go for some serious tank warfare. All right. Light tanks, let's go ahead and replace them. They are more expensive, but it's okay. We're going to get the best possible light tanks. And then, yeah, if we go down this infantry route, and I give you guys armored recon companies... Armor of 5.5. Okay, so that is, at that point, enough armor that basic infantry wouldn't be able to pierce it. That is the bare minimum for an armed recon company that actually would have some pretty good survivability as long as your enemy doesn't have any tanks, artillery, or anti-tank. Maybe. I'm actually curious, if I were to add on support artillery to you... Yeah, see, that still wouldn't be enough piercing. They have to have actual dedicated artillery in order to beat that light tank. So yes... That is the scene where we are able to actually make use of infantry that are good defensive. Still not good offensive divisions, don't get me wrong. If we're going to have 20 with infantry with just a recon company to support, we still should not be using these guys to push. But if enemy infantry attack us, they're going to take like 2 or 3 times the casualties we will. Because I'm pretty sure that the way it works is when an enemy attacks you, you have to take into account their soft attack and how much damage that does to your casualties, right? And the more casualties you take, the more organization you're going to lose. That soft attack value is reduced by a few things. It's reduced by, if you have higher defense value than they have breakthrough, it gets to reduce by like 50% or something like that. It's a huge deal. Armor reduces it even further if they don't have enough piercing value to overtake your armor. And then if you have hardness value, which tanks, motorized, mechanized, and stuff add on there, you actually split it. So let's say a 5% hardness value and 95% not. Or yeah, 5% hardness value means that only 95% of their soft attack takes effect, and then 5% of their hard attack. So you then take that soft attack and reduce it further. But my point is, it reduces their soft attack, which is really what matters at the beginning of the game, by a lot. Having more defense than they have breakthrough, a little bit more armor than they have piercing, and a little bit of hardness value means we start taking significantly less damage. We can just absolutely slaughter them. Anyway, Imperial Glory. The time has come to finally restore the great Russian Tsardom. Under the guiding hand of new Tsar, Dmitry Romanov, we get the leader for the paternal autocrat party. Boom! Alright. So with that done... Whoa! My paternal autocracy seems to have jumped up a little bit, and they're up to 36% now. Sweet. And Dmitry III loses all of his benefits. Really? Because, I mean, I guess I'm glad not to have the consumer goods to worry about. We were getting something else, but now he's just kind of like, meh? Alright, the first cousin of the last emperor of all Russians, Nikolai II. One of the most famous members of the House of Romanov. Okay, well, cool. With less consumer goods to worry about, that means we actually have a lot more factories to worry about, like 4 more. And we have to appoint another prime minister. The Tsardom has been restored. The Russian Republic, created in the last years of the Weltkrieg, appears to have only lasted 20 years before its end. Plagued by disordered political agitation and ineffective governance in recent years, the Republic lost the support of the people, and state news agencies now report that a successor to Nikolai II has been crowned Tsar of all the Russians. While it is not known what the international priorities of this reborn Russian Empire are, or even if the coronation of the Tsar will calm the turbulent nation, numerous monarchs across the world have already congratulated the Romanovs on regaining their divine birthright. Alright, so, with a prime minister. Paternal autocrats, a flamboyant brute. Lose a little bit of stability if we go for production cost reduction. Division defense. It's an authoritarian democrat. That wouldn't hurt me too much, honestly. What's my current leader? Yeah, so here's why I have to go for this guy. I currently have 16% war support with this guy in my government. 16% is enough for me to get early mobilization, which I need. So, much as I hate to change things around, I think we're going to have to keep this guy and lose the political power, because it lets me get to a better economy, even though this guy may be better in other ways. Words of the Tsar. Get some extra political power. Yes, I'm going to do that, because that will get me up to the 100 I need to switch over to early mobilization law. And note, by the way, in Kaiserreich, unlike Hearts of Iron 4, you can't just jump from civilian to war economy. There's no tricks like that, so you really might as well ramp it up whenever the opportunity presents itself. That's just generally speaking going to be the way to go. Would love to have partial mobilization, but I need 200 political power instead of 100. So we might as well take the advantages of early mobilization and start saving up for partial mobilization once that option becomes available. So yes, absolutely, getting the extra political power, well worth it. Thank you very much. We have a whole load of units that are sitting around doing nothing at the moment. We could just train these guys. I don't have a lot of guns, though. I mean, we're starting to finally produce some guns. We got 28 per day now. It's better than it used to be, that's for frickin' sure. I would like to start training some more tanks. So I'm actually going to say these are the higher priority. We'll train up to 4, then we'll go for a couple more there, etc., etc. I need more military factories. It is time to start mobilizing. But the reason I want heavy tanks is because what I would love to do is start integrating them into this division right here. Replace this with an armored heavy tank. The result being we would get a little bit more soft attack and hard attack, but most importantly, we would get a lot of breakthrough, lots of it. Plus, we would get some armor, so we would take less damage overall, and some piercing and so on, so we don't have to worry about their armor. That all is pretty decent. So we need a lot of factories, if we're going to make good use of those in any upcoming wars. The good news is I'm not anticipating getting into a major war against a large power where I need that, at least for a while. I'm hoping to fight small folks, like get Alash Orda back under control, go for the Don Kuban Union, go for Ukraine, go for Finland, go for Transamur, the Fengtian government, whatever I can do. You know? Little guys, eat them all, grow my strength. That's what I'm hoping for. To that extent, where could I find options for territorial expansion? They're all down here. Okay. So we actually now can go for expansionism. Expansion options against Poland, Austria, Romania, Persia, and Afghanistan. Austria? Well, ain't that interesting. Okay. And we could use this, either one of these, to attack the Don Kuban Union. So expansionism for war support. Realpolitik for base stability. But no matter which one we choose, we still get to choose everything else. Extra expansion options versus Poland, Austria, Romania, Persia, and Afghanistan. Now, what does that mean? Extra expansion options. It doesn't say we get, like, an annex war goal. Do I get to, like, try to turn them into puppets? Do I get war goals? I mean, taking down, let's say, Persia would be great. Because they've got some, like, oil and stuff. Right? I got a little bit. Now I got a bunch over here. Yeah, taking on Persia would be good. But we do know that if we want to go down that route, there is going to be a immediate war against the Don Kuban Union. So, one thing I'm going to do is take at least a handful of you guys. Let's change up some icons, because these guys are the same and it's confusing. I'm going to change you to be a tower. just so I recognize what are my defensive armies. Okay. And looks like mostly we have infantry with artillery attached. Like, almost all of them are infantry with artillery. Really? Yeah. Wow, we have a lot of artillery at the start of the game. Like, a lot of artillery. Holy crap. Okay. Well, I'm going to be taking some tanks and stuff. And some of my more elite units. I'm also going to be taking the Women's Army of Death, who is apparently defensive in nature, but alright. We'll take her anyway. You guys with the higher veteran status, blah, 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 blah. Take all of you. I want to set up a couple of armies that are going to be in a good position to take on the Don Kuban Union, hopefully without taking too many casualties. I can't imagine these guys are going to be very strong. Right? Should be super easy to finish them off. Alright, that's all the elites we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put you guys over here. Split you guys, put you over here. We're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Move you over here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here. Okay, so these guys are mostly... These guys are offensive, my currently set up. The rest are almost all offensive as well. So who do you want as far as a general? Armor, speed, and division... Armor, attack. Well, that's good. Yeah, I want a panzer leader, definitely. You're pretty good for that, too. Thorough planner, planning speed, brilliant strategist. I actually think I want you for assault. So we put you in charge there. Actually, well, you know what we should do? Before I forget and people yell at me as they have in past series, for good reason, by the way. Let's get a field marshal set up. Max planning, planning speed, promotion cost, max entrenchment. Recovery rate reduction sucks. Okay, none of these are great. I guess I'm going to take you. Make you into the field marshal. Alright. And with that done, let's get winter attrition reduction on you. Artillery specialist experience factor. You know, we're going to have a lot of artillery in some of these armies, so that's fine. And then for you, we don't really have any cavalry, so this doesn't do me any good. Guess we'll put you in charge there. Alright, so we're going to have some armies. Yo! Get down here to the Don Kuban Union. Yep, and we're going to have... Actually, you know what? We're going to move you over here so we don't have to cross the river. And your goal is basically to get the war goal there. You guys are going to set up right along here. You guys are going to help hold the line. And you guys are going to help hold the line. Alright, all my troops are going to get set up over here so we can go for a very fast blitz against the Don Kuban Union if I want to. Which, if I recall correctly, tends to upset Germany a little bit. Looks like the Dutch have got some elections on the way. You are currently still led by Queen Wilhelmina. Social Democrats. Interesting. She abdicates the throne! Oh. So what happens now? You are led by the States General. Well, sucks to be the Netherlands, apparently. What's going to happen to the Dutch East Indies, I wonder? The strategies to, like, take over Indonesia just still work. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. There was some meta strategies back in the day where you'd find an excuse, any excuse at all, to take over the Dutch East Indies, turn it into a puppet, train up an absurd amount of troops with them, because they have a huge manpower pool, and then just, like, annex them and you keep all their troops. Like, you could get hundreds of thousands of extra manpower. That's actually how we did the Belgium into the European Union run that I did a while back, which was pretty fun. I did enjoy playing that run. It involved basically cheesing the crap out of France, and then eventually, yeah, the Dutch East Indies. It was kind of fun. I liked it. I liked it a lot. All right, so it is time to move to early mobilization law. The Doinkus, thank you. As a result, we should get... No more factories? Really? No more factories than that? Oh, that cannot be right. Something must be wrong. I thought 5% more consumer goods would amount to more than that. The important thing, though, is not just that. It's also the fact that we can build civilian factories 20% faster than before. Serbia just declared war on Bulgaria with the help of Romania and Greece. Oh, so they're trying to take their Belgrade Pact in an offensive direction. Interesting. Interesting. There's also another Spanish Civil War, because Spain always falls into a civil war no matter what timeline you've got going on down here. So that's fun. How is the American one going? Where are the syndicates? The syndical estates aren't a thing. And New England broke free. What? Something's happening. Almost always, there's a four-way civil war going on here in America. You got the American Union State, which are the authoritarians. You got the syndicates. You got the military junta. And you got the Pacific States. They went down a route with Floyd Olson, who actually was able to hold off the military junta, the Pacific States, and the combined syndicates. But they're still dealing with the American Union State, and I think they're losing. Also, Canada demanded that New England get freed up, which they accepted. This is unusual. This is highly unusual. Also, it looks like the Italians went down national populists, and now they're having their own civil war, and Venice broke free. Usually the Socialist Republic of Italy takes over all of this, so it's interesting to see what's happening here. Huh. This is not my typical game. My typical game's getting a little thrown off here in Kaiserreich. Cool to see them mix things up, though. I like it. Construction tech is done. Very good time for that. Could go for resource gain efficiency. Not worried about it right now. Let's go ahead and research the radio to improve our reinforcement rate. This is one of those technologies that I feel like I really need someone else to sit down and explain whether or not it is actually any good. Because it Ottomans declare war on Bulgaria too. Bulgaria's in for a really rough time. It feels like it's very important in the sense that whenever you do attack and you send some more people to join in, you want to have them join in and combine their stats as quickly as possible. Reinforced rate is good in that sense. And it's definitely good if you're going to set up some planning bonuses and then just leave it and forget it. No doubt about it, that's really good. But, game, there you go. But, if you simply abandon the attack and then, like, manually move them all yourself, they automatically, like, all are reinforced anyway. So, if you micromanage sufficiently, can you completely ignore the, reinforcement rate mechanic? I think the answer is yes, you can, but the odds of you successfully micromanaging the game to that extent are pretty not good. So, you shouldn't do it. Probably. That's what I would guess. Okay, we finished with the voice of the Tsar. We could go for... Oh! Imperial Glory can do this too! Oh! I didn't know I could also get the research speed. Alright, that's even better. Compliance is great. Political power is great. Stability is great. That said, if I go down things like Expansionism, we can start to attack things. Which I want to do. That said, I also really need stability. What's more important to me right now, stability or war support? It's almost certainly going to be stability. We could rationalize the laws and probably fix a lot of this. I can delay the war a little bit, but I really do need to be getting things like stability back. So we're going to try for that. I would love to swap over to free trade for my focus here, because we actually can send a lot more resources to market than I currently have. And it would result in me getting, at least temporarily, a lot more civilian factories to work with. So I think it's probably worth doing that. Not to mention we would get faster construction speed on all my factories and slightly faster research speed. So I feel like going for free trade wouldn't be a bad idea. At least for now. We likely would have to spend political power trying to bring it back later, but for now it wouldn't be bad. What's going on with all these factions? Oh, sure enough, there's a faction going set up over here. Okay, apparently these guys way up over here have set up to join as well. Weird. Belgrade Pact is still looking pretty strong and large. It's all fine. The Entente is still its own thing. Reichspakt, Third International. Nothing too crazy as far as I can tell. Mostly just China setting up their own pact to hold off Japan. Mobile warfare has been upgraded, so we can go for a more infantry and motorized and mechanized organization, which is generally speaking pretty good. We'll pick that up next. I'm going to keep focusing on the doctrines as much as I can. It's just, it's always a really good thing to do. Okay, we have our concentrated industry as well as our improved machine tools. Now, one of the reasons I needed to finish this off quickly is if we're going to be stealing some tech from the Germans, what you do is you steal based on what you infiltrated. In our case, because we infiltrated the civilian government, we're going to steal an industrial tech that they own that I do not. It's entirely possible that they're going to have something like dispersed industry, and that's what it's going to try to steal. Now, we obviously can't have both, so it gives me a huge research ahead of time bonus for something. But I definitely didn't want to steal something I'm already currently researching. That wouldn't have done me a whole lot of good. How much longer, actually, until we are done with our spying? 194 days. We could actually finish out a couple others. If I wanted to do some extraction for resource gain efficiency, that wouldn't be bad. Because that, with free trade, would let me get a lot more factories as I continue to extract a lot of goodies. Is there anything else that's really important for me to be getting right now? I mean, some support companies are good, but I wouldn't say crucial. We don't need anything on this front. I'm not focusing on artillery, and we're pretty much on time with that anyway. Yeah, in this case, I actually think we can go for double resource extraction. In 148 days, we should be able to increase what we are extracting by about 20%. That could be pretty substantial once I get the free trade, which I think is what I'm going to end up going for next. By the way, I don't know why I was blanking on this. The industrial concern cost, weapons cost, blah, blah, blah. That's all these guys down here. So we'll be able to get an industrial company for a bit cheaper, for like 100 political power instead of 150. Which could be really good. I mean, 10% extra construction speed for things like civilian factories is obviously awesome. But I do think free trade will be more awesome, because that's a definite 5%, right? Yeah, 5%, not to mention 5% research speed, and if we export more resources, that's more civilian, which ends up being better than the 5% we would have gotten from industrial concern. So let's go to free trade. So that's now going to be done. Let's see. Hopefully we start exporting. We are indeed exporting a lot more. Clergy are once again criticizing me because they really have nothing better to do with their time, apparently. But yeah, now we're exporting a load of steel, which means... How do I not have better factories than that? Hello? We should have a lot more. 17. I don't know. I don't know why this is so bad. Panama! What's going on? Yeah, I thought we would get more civilian factories than that. I feel slightly robbed. But on the plus side, we definitely have 5% faster research speed from free trade. So that'll be good. We'll be able to go a little bit faster on this. Let's see if we can upgrade our Women of Death division. I'm going to go ahead and add in some of those armored recon companies. We have just enough light tanks to get 2 of them. Not exactly a lot, credit where it's due. But I mean, yeah, whatever. It'll be fine. A little extra soft attack. Is that actually going to be very beneficial to me at this point? Let's just remove this for now. Let's go ahead and save this out for 20, like so. If I then took that and added on extra artillery, it would actually lower the armor value slightly. We get a lot more soft attack, but that's not the point. The point is to keep my organization high. Yeah, I think we ignore that for now. So, cool. My Women of Death are going to have the first ever tank recon. Let's see if it actually does me any good at all. About to finish rationalizing the laws. There it is. That should get my stability up at least a little bit. Thank you for that. So, Neo-Slavism I don't think we need right now. The extra research speed is nice. The real question to me is, do I want to go down Expansionism or Realpolitik? As much as the thing is, I want both. A little bit more war support would allow me to work toward partial mobilization, which is good for my economy. Stability is good for my economy as well. We'll get the 2% that I need anyway, just as world tension increases. But this also gets me extra expansion options. We're going to go down Expansionism, and we're just going to see what happens. The worst come to worst, I guarantee that by the time that it's done, I will be able to get up to partial mobilization, because we'll have more than 25%, so I'm going to go ahead and start stockpiling some political power in anticipation of that, which is going to reduce my consumer goods by another 5% and increase construction of military factories by 20% and civilian by 10%. Which is good. I'm actually starting to finish up around these civilian factories, and as you can see, I have a lot more military factories that are getting queued up. So those are all things I need to work on. Looks like the Ottomans and Bulgarians just declared peace with each other, which means that the Ottomans actually only wanted to take one little state down over here. Okay, so Romania and Serbia and Greece are going to eat the rest of this. Alright, fair enough. Looks like Bulgaria and Serbia ended their hostilities as well, so Serbia takes a bit more, which means Romania is actually no longer fighting them. Okay, so Bulgaria gets to exist, basically. Okay, I feel like you guys could have finished them off if you had been a little bit smarter in your play, but whatever, that's fine. Don't expect the AI to be smart, you'll be disappointed every time. Expansionism is done, good lord, there's a lot going on here as far as the world. World tension now above, sorry, war support now above the 25% mark that I needed. Let's go for the partial mobilization, boost that up a little bit. Let's go for Crisis on the Don. We are going to immediately declare war on these guys. The plight of the Terek Cossacks. Cossacks? Ooh, I remember Cossacks. Back in the day, I did an EU4 campaign as Muscovy. I think it was my second ever campaign of EU4 on this channel. My first ever was Scotland. What a fun choice that was. I did not play particularly well. We still managed to get some things to happen, but it wasn't the best thing I'd ever done. But yeah, playing as the Cossacks was kind of fun. Unrest on the Don. Founded in 1925, Piotr Krasnov sided with Alexander Kolchak during the Kolchak coup and carved out a fief In the Russian steppe with the German support, the Don Kuban Union is an artificial state composed of several Cossack hosts such as Don Kuban and Terek, and numerous ethnicities in the northern Caucasus, and held up by the Cossack leader's persona. Russia's steady recovering and rebuilding, and so plans to spread outward, have caused a stir in the state. Many of its inhabitants feel attachment to any sort of Don Kuban identity and see themselves as Russians, Ukrainians, or as part of the state's many other ethnic groups. If Russia takes the opportunity to heighten these tensions, Krasnov's fragile state may finally collapse, gain more war support. Yeah, okay. That's helpful. Thank you. I'll take it. In the meantime, though, I do think that that's going to be a good place for us to end this video. We are about to begin our first little bit of expansion, and I think that'll be helpful because the Don Kuban Union does have a bit of oil. Heck, if I could get down to Azerbaijan and steal all this, we'd actually have enough oil to supply my tanks for a while, but I need to get this at the very least. It's not optional to get the Don Kuban Union. So we're going to take over that in the next video, assuming that the Germans don't do anything really nasty to try and stop me. We should probably start training up some more troops now that we are getting some equipment together. In fact, I will start doing that now. We don't have enough light tanks or infantry equipment for much, unfortunately. But I'll train up what I can while I can, I suppose. Every little bit counts. And yeah, the Russian Empire is a thing. So if we can start going on a massive conquest spree and flex our very substantial muscles a little bit, soon Russia shall realize its full potential, and we will dominate this world. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.
All right, let's go ahead and do it.